hungry because you're listening to Everybody Eats.
Welcome back to another episode of the Everybody Eats podcast. It's your host, Bensky Belazaire. We got our co-host, Eden Lekpi, on the line, and we have a really special guest today, Mr. Zach Abukar. Thank you very much for joining us today. Really appreciate it. So before we get into that, remember, tune in to us on all platforms, so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Check us out on Instagram at everybodyeats.pod. So we have all our snippets on TikTok, Twitter, all that great stuff. So you have no excuse while we're on quarantine. You can listen to some podcasts. So let's get into today's episode and today's guest, Zach. I keep telling you guys, like, social media is a powerful tool for networking. Zach, I met him on Instagram a couple weeks, maybe like a month or so back. I believe maybe he reached out to me on DM, or maybe it was the other way around. I don't know. But somehow we got connected, and he interviewed me first about a couple of weeks ago on Instagram Live. So we still actually have that flyer on the page. So we did Instagram Live. That was real dope. Had a really great conversation. So I was like, hey, we got to make sure we get you on the podcast. So Zach, thank you very much for joining us today. If you could just briefly introduce yourself. What do you do? Where are you from? And then we'll get it rolling.
Hey, you already know, it's your boy, Zach Abukar, aka Dreams Too Big out there in social media land. Man, obviously, like, such an honor, bro. I appreciate you for having me on. I already knew that it was a legit connection when I reached out to you via DMs. I stay in the DMs, guys. If y'all don't use the DMs, what are you doing with your life? Start reaching out to people. Don't be selfish and just thinking people don't reach out to you. You gotta reach out to people. You gotta extend that olive branch. You know what they say? Extend the olive branch. Whatever the phrase is. I'm an immigrant kid from Somalia. I grew up around a bunch of rich white folks. Poor as hell. So I was like, man, I need to figure out how to live like y'all up in these mansions with all these, theaters and bowling alley and basketball court and swimming pool up in your crib. I need that, so let me figure that out for myself. So a little bit of backstory on me. So right now I do public relations coaching and consulting for entertainers, athletes, people of fashion, finance, and real estate, because growing up, I was an athlete. Growing up, I was into a little bit of fashion because most of my friends are. I was into entertainment because I was in choir, theater, television production, video production, just having a lot of fun creating. So I had a lot of fun, and growing up, I went to college for football. I wasn't gonna go to college otherwise, FYI. But yeah, I went to college for football, and then I got hit by a drunk driver a couple weeks into school, and unfortunately I couldn't play football anymore. So plan B, I didn't have a plan B because I was one of those, plan A, that's it, nothing else. I'm grinding for this thing, So it was unfortunate, but it led me to a lot of really cool relationships in college. And then, finding myself, right? So, I went from a private school to a community school. I was taking some communications courses, psychology, mass comm, theater. Shout out all those theater heads out there. You can do something with it other than just acting on stage. Social media, I'm a character, people say, so I use it to my advantage. But anyway, just taking a few of those courses, sociology, mixing that all up together, I'm like, I need to do something here, no degree that, some of these colleges are going to offer me is actually going to help me live the life that I wanted to live. Remember, I grew up poor, and I wanted to live in these massive mansions like these other folks. So I met some rich folks, it took me by the brain. I like to joke around, and, they were like, yo, you can make money online. I was like, bet, say less. How? How do I do that? Show me. So I got introduced to online marketing, online sales, shout out network marketing. I learned a lot through network marketing. So I traveled the country for a couple years. So I dropped out of college. Shout out to college dropouts out there. I dropped out of college at 22, because these people were like, yo, you can make money online. I was like, all right, bet, show me how. So I was traveling throughout the country, going to seminars, workshops, reading a ton of books, through Audible and my physical books, and having some mentorship on in my life. So I was like, man, this is so cool. Doing it, ma. So got into the corporate world. By the way, you don't just have to graduate and do the what do they call it, internships and all that. They show me other ways too. So if you're thinking about dropping out, I don't know. Maybe I advise against that. Just live it out. Get your degree. Like Gary Vee says, college is probably the easiest years of your life. So network with a lot of people. All I did was party. FYI, after I was done playing, so I did a lot of partying. Very seldom school, but that taught me a lot about networking. Though, so if I hadn't networked and met some of these people, I wouldn't be living the life that I'm living now. So anyway, fast forward, obviously partying connected me with a lot of people. So I ended up connecting with these rich white folks. Took me throughout the country, showed me network marketing, online sales. So now I'm like, okay, well, how do I move around? I still need a job. I need to get some bread first. So they're like, yeah, why don't you go ahead and go through different workforce agencies. Shout out to third parties that provide job opportunities for people. By the way, that is major key right there.
Yeah.
You guys are trying to make some moves. That's a really good foot in the door. So anyway, I started out in corporate America. Shout out Best Buy Corporate. That was my first experience there. The headquarters is actually in Minnesota. What?
Got it.
So anyway, that was my first experience. Doing some project fulfillment work. $14 an hour, 15, whatever it was. At that time, that was some good money. Now it's minimum wage. Someplace in the country.
Yeah.
So anyway, just gaining some experience and then finding my way into other opportunities through these different agencies. Mostly just in technology, so doing technology business to business and business to consumer sales. So for Samsung, Dell. So it was a ton of fun, but I eventually found my way into upscale hospitality, and that was dope. More money than I ever made because shout out to tips, and if you can figure out a way to actually do the job. So commission, if you guys are trying to get a job, make sure that it's commission based or you can make tips some way somehow. With your standard paycheck, you're just getting paid to do what everybody else is doing, and then if the other person is doing just as much as you are or less than, you also same. It's unfortunate, but that's the sad reality. Then where's the incentive to work a little harder? What you get a promotion to maybe a couple of dollars more, or they throw you a bonus here and there. Avoid if I would say anything about corporate, that salary, that is a trap. Toward the end of my career, my corporate career, 5K, it was pretty decent, but I was getting paid bonuses. But at the same time, they pay you for 40 hours, but your boy, I was working 70. Guess who's working for free for 30 hours? This guy. So it was unfortunate that was the case, but I'm over here yo, I got this important position. I'm rubbing elbows with rich folks. I'm doing things. I was in upscale hospitality management at the time, and I got fired in 2018 from my lucrative career, and it sucked. It sucked, can I tell you? It sucked.
I would imagine.
Bro, I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do at that point, man. Do I go back to another company?
So how'd you manage that?
So, it's specifically, what's your question? How do I manage that? Emotionally, mentally, physically, financially?
Let's do financially and emotionally at the same time, because I would say I'm sure you're gonna get into it, but one thing I do want to highlight is that one thing I've been noticing also lately is that entrepreneurship isn't always about the money. It's a lot about your mental state, your mindset, and your goals and things like that. So let's say mentally, how did you overcome getting fired from a lucrative position, and then financially, what was the next move?
Oh my God, bro! It was hell in a handbasket, man. So financially, I went through my savings. Luckily, I had some really good mentors. You know, they're like, "Yo, get your savings on point. You know, get some credit lines open up. You know, you might need it. You know, and you want to invest a little bit of your money." So financially, man, it was crazy to just see like your solid income go away, and I had a child at the time too, so I was a new father. My relationship of 3 years, I'm trying to like marry this chick that fell apart. So I was going through a lot financially at the time because you lost your income. Like, what do you do? So I spent a couple of months just like building myself up, and I'm like, yo, screw it. I'm not gonna go get a job, right? I'm just gonna like put all my eggs in one basket in terms of building up like what I'm doing right now. The initial stages suck because A, how much do I charge people? And B, like how much time I spend with people, and C, like what am I actually delivering to folks? I knew public relations, right? Like marketing, media, how to influence media. I knew branding and sales, but like how do I actually give that to people? So anyway, I spent that time really figuring that out, and then all that while, I'm still having to help my ex with brand and the baby, and then also like I'm living in my own place too, so I'm like so I'm going through all my savings, I'm going through all my credit, just like swiping cards, like I'm like down to my last couple of hundred. I'm like, shit, what do I do, And it was a very humbling moment. I put out a message out there, it's like, on social media, people like think you're doing good, and like you live in the lifestyle and all that. And I had a really good lifestyle. So I'm like, man, I need help. I can't, what am I going to do? Like I've just run out of money.
Yeah.
So nobody really knew I was going through a lot of that, actually. So like mentally and emotionally, like that's hard trying to like go through that by yourself. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, I need help. I need help ASAP. So I put out a message out there, and then some of my family contacted me, like, yo, what are you doing? What's wrong with you? Like we don't ask for help. Because I come from a more like affluent family back home in Somalia. So like, affluent people are not supposed to ask for help. You're supposed to be the help, like helping everybody else out. So, but that's not the American way. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you need help, you ask.
Yeah.
So I grew up in the States, so I did what I knew best. Because I always like asked for help when I needed help. But then something happened. Throughout my 20s, like when I dropped out of college, up till like 27, I was like very self-sufficient person, I'm just taking care of me. But anyway, financially, how did I make it through, man? I asked for help. And some of my friends, shout out to you guys, you know who you are, help me out with that. And then, some of my mentors, like, yo, hey, like, this is what's happening, this is what's going on. And at the time, I had resources, but I didn't necessarily know how to utilize those resources, because all I knew was, yo, I got a lucrative career. Like, I'm bringing in some bacon, or some halal bacon. Shout out Ramadan. But yeah. So anyway, so I'm just like, shoot, man, what do I do? So I asked for help. I'm getting the help that I need, and then money's just not enough, because I'm not gonna continue to ask for help. So I'm charging these people here and there like $400, $800 for the service, $200 for the service, chasing people around for $25, $10. It was just craziness. But anyway, after all that, I ended up losing my place, ended up having some health issues, all the while I was still building my business in that first year. So, right, no job, lost relationship, end up losing my place, poor health, and all the while I'm still trying to build business.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah, bro, it was crazy. It was crazy. But eventually, it started figuring itself out. But like, man, like mentally and emotionally, that's a tall task, man. I don't wish that upon my worst enemy. I don't think I have enemies now, but just like I would wish that upon like the worst person in the world. It's very trying. It's very trying on you emotionally and mentally, man. Like a lot of that, like to go through all that and to come out of it like not a changed person is impossible. But you have to choose. Do you change, or do you become a bitter person through all of that? And I chose to become a better person through that journey. And they say that success is all about the journey and not necessarily the destination that you come to. It's about the person that you become throughout the process of building a business and becoming a more resilient emotionally or mentally individual, and just going through it and the character that you develop throughout that, because the story now that I share with other people is like, damn, Zach, you overcame all that, bro. You traveled to Africa now, and all these people know you. I'm like, there's a backstory behind everything, man. Like, don't think that everybody that's quote unquote made it just makes it. Like, they have to go through hell and back, to become a new individual. But
definitely. Sorry to cut you off real quick, but I just want to point on this because something that you said. You said you didn't become bitter. And I think that's just really key, especially now during these times, right, where a lot of people unfortunately are going through a tough time with Corona, whether they lost their job or anything like that. So I think it's really, I don't want to say ironic, but like it's great that you're touching that point. But saying that, when trials come or hard times come, it's like, your reaction towards it, you know what I'm saying? So it's like you could become bitter and upset, but like being bitter and upset, like you're going to lose or not find as many opportunities to succeed because you're going to be so worried about the issue and the problem, right? And obviously not saying it's easier said than done going through it. It's not, I'm not saying it's going to be completely easy and you're going to be all happy all the time, but that perspective of knowing that it can get better on the other side and there are opportunities on the other side, that just provides for looking for opportunities to, expand on your business, expand on yourself, expand, giving back to, the people around you and things like that. So definitely.
And I think to piggyback off that point, something I always tell myself once in a while if I'm really frustrated or I'm facing something tough is I can't control life, but I can control my reaction to it.
That's a fact. Say it again for the people in the back.
I can't control life, but I can control. I can't control life, but I can control my reaction to it.
That's a fact. So
absolutely, man.
Definitely.
Like it's unfortunate, that the things that happen in our lives happen. But I just actually finished a book one of my mentors recommended to me. It's by this guy. He survived the Holocaust. So he wrote this book called Man's Search for Meaning.
I've heard of it.
Forget the name of the author, but Man's Search for Meaning basically just talks about all of us, going through our own individual, circumstances in life, but at the same time, not becoming so bitter about the changes in the Holocaust, So how is he come out of it and having more positive experiences and looking at positive experiences rather than the negative experiences? He had death all over him. You know what I'm saying? People getting thrown into the oven that he knew, just chilling out with them in this concentration camp, So how does this guy end up seeing the best of that situation and not starting to help other people through their own life circumstances as a clinical counselor, and somebody that it's like he became such a beautiful human being through the process.
Definitely.
So anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off earlier.
No, definitely. I was gonna. I think that's a really good point. Again, speaking on your perspective and your mentality, and like I said, with entrepreneurship and business, it's not always about being able to make that transaction and that money. A lot of it is about your mental space and being able to pursue through the hard times, being able to adapt and overcome. So, on that note, we're going to conclude this first segment, and then we'll go into the quote of the day. I have today's quote, so we'll be right back. Welcome back to segment 2, Everybody Eats podcast. We're here with Zach Abukar. Just had a great conversation about his background and the importance of your perspective and, being able to, you may not be able to control your life, but you can control your actions. So shout out to Eden for saying that. So today's quote, it's, you might be able to get it, but it's, the first hint, it is a song lyric, right? So actually I have the full one on the computer, but you'll probably be able to guess who it is. The quote goes, or the lyrics go, I remember you was conflicted, misusing your influence. Sometimes I did the same, abusing my power, full of resentment.
So I have to guess who said that?
Yeah.
Oh man. See, I've been hiding under a rock for like 10 years, bro. I don't know, like if it's like mainstream or. Can you give me a hint?
All right, rapper from the West Coast. Edom, I'm surprised you haven't given a guess yet.
Oh, I mean, I know the answer, but I'm not going.
Wait.
If you know the answer, then you have to say it. But
yeah, go ahead.
Say the quote again.
I remember you was conflicted, misusing your influence.
Kendrick Lamar.
What song?
I'm pretty sure he repeats that a lot throughout the album, but Black and Berry?
Nah. Nah, it's Mortal Man.
Wait, what is it?
Mortal Man by Kendrick Lamar.
Okay. I'm gonna look it up later.
Yeah, I remember you was conflicted, misusing your influence. So the main reason I wanted to
right?
Say it again.
Mortal Man,
yeah. So the main reason I actually picked this quote was kind of related to what I want to speak on in the next segment of what is an influencer. But before we get into that segment, I really like this quote, kind of saying, I remember you was conflicted, misusing your influence. And that kind of goes into the fact that everyone has influence on someone else, whether it's good or bad and whether you realize it or not. Everyone has influence on your life, pretty much like all your friends or your circle. They all have an influence on your life the same way that you have influence on theirs. So it's important to make sure that you're using your influence in a proper way. So that's something that, for some reason, I don't know, I was thinking about that lyric today and it kind of just stood out. And I was like, you know what? And this is, since we kind of had the discussion a little bit prior before off camera, I was like, this would be great, to put it on the podcast. So that's what that quote means to me. You guys want to take your piece on that? Edom, you can go.
I think the whole aspect of being conflicted is losing your way in a sense. Everybody has a path that they end up following, maybe or may not be set every time. But in terms of confliction, I feel like that is synonymous with people feeling lost during their journeys or hitting dead ends or doing things that really they have no business in doing, hence misusing their influence. They're influencing. They're putting their influence, maybe time or attention towards something that's really not going to get them anywhere. Hence the whole misusing your influence. You should be putting it towards something better. That's how I view it.
Yeah. For sure. And Zach?
Yo, big facts. On big facts. So a lot of like my client. Oh, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So a lot of my clients that I work with, so I coach and I train influencers, right? So with influence, man, we don't understand the influence that we actually have. So I saw some of the people that I looked up to as saying, it's not my fault if these kids are doing this, that, and the other because I didn't ask them to follow me. But like we don't understand that we have this huge platform that you do have influence, especially if you're in entertainment, athletics, or fashion. You have a huge influence on the general public because there's this thing called the authority bias in our thinking, right? We look at somebody that has authority, you have authority of a platform, as somebody that knows a lot more than us. Unfortunately, we've all been conditioned to believe that that's the case because somebody has a platform, they have more knowledge than us, they have more authority in life. So I need to listen to what this person is saying. So when you abuse the trust of the people that gave you the platform and helped you build the platform, i.e., the general public, and also maybe some people that helped you get into certain doors, that you have that platform now, you have to actually respect it. You have to treat it, with respect. It can't just be willy-nilly. I'm just gonna say whatever I want and do whatever I want. And shout out to a friend of mine. He knows who he is. If you're listening to this, bro, I didn't do this with malice, but I let you know that it's brand suicide when you do anything and everything that you want to do without taking into consideration the ramifications of your actions. And it's unfortunate because the young man that I definitely care a lot about, but he chose to do whatever he wanted to do, and he was influenced by the people around him, and he didn't realize how big of a platform that he had. And unfortunately, I hope that it's not too great of ramifications he's facing currently. But again, we have to realize that our influence has negative and positive consequences, right? So, there are people that you are influencing, and just realize that, it's not just about you when you have a platform. It's also about the people that gave you the platform and helped you build the platform. Just always keep that in mind, and you always go toward the right way. I like to think, right? If you're doing things with the right intentions and the right mindset, and you always keep in mind that you want to stay true to who you are and not really deviate from the good path that you've originally started to pursue, and because you started to pursue it, your purpose fell in line with it, and then you started to become more of yourself, and that platform kept growing bigger and bigger and bigger because it was all about the authenticity. So always stay true to your most authentic self, and you'll never go wrong. I promise you.
Definitely. So, I really love that point. We're gonna have to get more in depth and speak additionally in that next segment. When we get into that. So, before we conclude, Ian, do you have anything you want to say regarding that quote before we conclude the segment?
No, I finished my thought, and Zach even went and covered a bit more with that too. So
for sure. All right, so that's it for today's quote of the day. We're going to wrap this up and get into our last segment. We're going to go deeper into what exactly is an influencer. We'll talk a little bit about managing that online space. Welcome back to segment 3 of today's episode. Man, we just had really great conversation, honestly, talking about perspective, talking about the influence. So what I want to ask, these are some questions that Zach and I actually covered before on an IG Live, but I want to revisit them as some time has passed, and, just want to revisit some questions, right? So the first one is, what exactly is an influencer? So we just pretty much, we covered some of it in this last segment talking about misusing your influence. So kind of just to recap, right? What exactly is an influencer? Well, personally, I say everyone is an influencer in some light, right? Whether you are, an older sibling to your younger sibling, whether you're a parent to his child, whether you're a teacher to a student, whether, you're a leader, business CEO to, your employees, whether on Instagram, whatever, you have some sort of influence on other people. And, today, due to social media, you have some people who have, largely, great followings on social media, whether it could be for something positive and educational, whether it could be for just something ratchet, whether it could just be for music or, like you said before, fashion, athletics, right? So everyone has an influence to other people, and, kind of like you mentioned, it's very important that you make sure whatever influence that you have, you're doing it positively, right? Because you could be doing something unintentionally, and similar, children could easily be following that, or people could easily follow that example, and, it may not be intended of what you wanted them to take out of it, but because you have influence, regardless of what your intention was, that is what, came off as. So it's making sure that, Obviously no one's perfect, but especially using your platforms to spread positive messages all the time, because you never know who's watching and who could be trying to imitate you. So that's my take on influencer. Honestly, that's everybody. So Zach, I know you briefly mentioned it before. I don't know if there's any points that you want to add.
No, man, just always respect your platform. It's just it's unfortunate because a lot of us don't necessarily. Well, it's because of our cognitive biases that we just don't think clearly.
Yeah.
So once you start to get big enough, then what happens is your confirmation bias takes over, where it's like, oh man, I'm awesome, I'm great, nobody's gonna ever mess with all of this that I've built. Well, I know you're looking for that confirmation, but that's not necessarily reality. Anything can happen. Like I said, I had a friend of mine who, unfortunately, what happened to him happened to him. But I've seen it happen to other people as well, and we've seen it throughout history where people don't necessarily respect their platforms, and then because they don't respect their platforms, things fall apart, and they face so much backlash that they're getting sued. They just don't understand like what happens, right? When things aren't rainbows and sunshine, when you're no longer making the millions, there's these athletes, for instance, right? They're living the limelight, and then a couple of errors of judgment, and they lose it all. They sleep with somebody's wife. They do all this crazy, reckless stuff, but in the moment, you're not realizing the consequences. That's what happens, right? We don't respect our platform enough. So anything that I would say to anybody out there that's looking to build a platform, just please respect that platform. I know that you might have like one follower now or whatever, but it can turn into 1 million very quickly because you become known for something, So figure out what you want to be known for. Is it something positive or is it something negative? Who knows, right? I don't know. Positive is good for somebody and negative is good for somebody. I don't care. But just, stay true to it. If that's your thing, don't deviate from your original message. Let it, evolve over time, obviously, but just don't deviate from your original message that helps you build a platform, and respect your platform. Don't get reckless with it just because you're making, such and such dollar figure, or your fame has increased, in other people's eyes. Just stay true to who you are, man. You won't go wrong.
Definitely. So I think that definitely concludes, the aspect of influencer. I think you can't really stress it enough. Eden, do you have any final remarks?
Yeah. Normally my response for this probably would have been really short, but I've been taking a lot of sociology courses this last semester, and I think at some point every single person in their life is an influencer. The scales that we do it on is much different, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I think an influencer is anyone who helps socialize another human being into society. So, as a parent, you take care of your kids, you teach them right from wrong, they have that attachment to you. And on top of that, something that is maybe getting more looked at now, but I feel like is overlooked, is the fact that our kids have access to technology, or like they watch TV a lot. But you see all these sports heroes, rest in peace Kobe, but kids want to grow up and be like him. Kids want to grow up and be like LeBron. Kids want to grow up and be like Steph Curry. And some kids really mold their existence, or, a lot of what they do in their everyday life around that, that person or role model. And at a point, they do become a structure in socializing another person at a point. So I think an influencer in this form of the question, I feel, is someone who has an effect on maybe not just their own children, but children / adults. They have an effect on someone that's maybe a complete stranger to them.
No, that's a fact. And like you said, you never really know exactly who. You know, it could be children, it could be adults, it could be whoever. So just make sure you're always, using your influence for positive light.
And it does piggyback off the idea of that self-awareness of your platform. You got to be conscious.
Yeah.
I think at a point you should definitely be conscious of, hey, X, Y, Z people have access or exposure to my content, and this is the effect that it's gonna have. So
yeah, like who you gotta know, like who your fans are, who are the people that listen to. Gotta be realistic about it. But I want to switch the topic a little bit to the online space. So I know you said you do some PR, you do some like digital marketing and things like that. So more of the online space. One, if you could kind of briefly describe what exactly do you do in terms of helping your clients? So what exactly do you do for your clients? So briefly talking to that, and then we'll talk more into taking advantage of the online space, whether it's going to be for your business content or, for your personal use. So Zach, if you could briefly touch that.
Yeah, no worries, man. So I built my brand off of really just like my 10 years of human behavior understanding. I understood marketing, sales, and branding, and then I saw that it's like the average individual is not going to really understand that. So my aim really wasn't to help the average individual; it was to help the people in entertainment, athletics, fashion, finance, and real estate, because those industries. You're going to want to actually have a better understanding of how your consumer works and who your consumer is and what you actually do for them. So I built 3 programs. I call it my influencer bundle. So I help them understand month number 1, the personal development side of it, developing their mindset as an influencer. So second month, helping them develop the monetization, right? Because you can have influence, but if you can't monetize that influence, you're just dummy. Like if there's people out in social media land where it's like their butts out there, their abs are out there, and just not getting money. At least if your butt and abs are out there, like just get some dough, bring in some money, just don't have influence. That's just dumb. But so anyway, helping them monetize, and then month number 3, it's helping them develop their leadership capabilities, right? So there's obvious habits that leaders have. And shout out to my mentors out there. I actually didn't know this was a thing. So high performance, right? High performance habits. So I started to develop some of these high performance habits myself, becoming a more organized person, utilizing. Oh, shout out to you, by the way, your story today. You talked about, utilizing your calendar, your phone calendar. That's one of the things I didn't really, necessarily do. But like, look at this. Just for instance, today. This was what was on my calendar today. Right?
It's filled up.
Just every day, bro. Every day. It's just like you just have better understanding of what happens in your day to day, because you just become a more organized person. As you become a more organized person, you're straight. You can actually lead yourself, the people, and so on and so forth. So those 3 programs, man, that was like my bread and butter was the personal branding. Just helping people monetize that brand. And then I was like, man, I need to figure out a way to actually help people develop their mindset, and there's personal development built from there. I was like, dude, I got to figure out how to help people actually lead people and create a movement, around who they are as a person, what they're doing for other people. So, those are my 3, like, that's my flagship right there, that influencer bundle. So then eventually what I did was I'm like, all right, cool, I can't necessarily like spend all my time one-on-one with people. I got to figure out a way to maybe do small group trainings. So then I developed this workbook. So that's called the Influencer's Guide to Building a Lifestyle Brand. So now with that, I did 3 beta groups. I did that for free for my paying one-on-one clients, and some very, very lucrative. Like, I knew if I did it for them, like they'd get my name out there. So, say less, like let's go ahead. Here's just come into my program. I started using WhatsApp. I'm like, let me go ahead and put all these people in here. I'm communicating with them, dropping some gems in there, and then jumping on Zoom before Zoom was popular. I was doing these little classes starting last year. I'm on my third beta group right now, and then behind the scenes right now, what we're doing is building up a digital course around it, right? So it's not only my time, and it's actually just recording it, 9 weeks, boom, put that up on my website, and people can purchase it. In the summertime, you'll be able to purchase it for $1,500. So just making my way to a million, So like I just wanted to build upon this. So that's what I do, one-on-one, and then small group training. I've been doing that for a little bit. And then for my clients, like my consulting clients, so there's the coaching side of what I do, and then there's the consulting side of what I do for businesses. So like I said, people don't necessarily understand marketing, branding, or sales. So exclusively, I'm helping small businesses build their sales program. Their sales process, because that's what I did in corporate America, right? And helping them build their marketing communications, strategy, and then also building up their branding strategy as well. And then on top of that, I have a media company. So my media company, my boy and I, we started that 5 years ago, and it's low key. We're just doing content for people. Because I knew that social media marketing. Shout out to Ty Lopez. I took his program, his social media marketing agency program. That put me on game. I was like, yo, like this is the future, So all these agencies existed, and then all these creatives existed. So we're like, yo, let's just build a platform, to like bring them all together. So, just started building around ourselves and really just our talents. And then I had my friends, just sitting at home with this crazy amount of college debt. All right, stop doing that to students, guys.
Welcome back. We're just wrapping up today's episode, so we're just going to end it with some tips and advice for businesses during this time, right? You're saying that some businesses, they may have to be closing their doors and they're not online, right? So whether you have a business or just for someone, who has a profile online, what are ways that they can take advantage of the online space, either, during COVID and just in general?
Yeah, absolutely. My biggest thing is start producing a strong personal brand. I know Gary Vee and all these other guys talk about personal branding, but if you don't even see value in yourself, how can you build a personal brand? Like a lot of us, unfortunately, we've been conditioned to believe that other people are supposed to go, make a difference in the world, and we're all just supposed to be very small, insignificant, people. But that's not necessarily the truth, guys. What is the truth is that with social media, really you can do anything and build anything. Your personal brand can be whatever the hell you choose really for it to be, right? With me, I knew that I wasn't going to go back to corporate America. I had too many skills, talents, and abilities and knowledge base to share with everybody else. I just needed to sit down and start reading some books, and started getting some mentorship by some really successful people online. I paid for some coaching when I was broke. Literally, there's people that are making some good money. They're like, oh, I don't think coaching is for me. I'm like, you're a fool. You don't even understand what you don't know. Okay, like listen here. Let me show you a few things. Paying for some coaching. Maybe there's somebody out there that might know something about something that you might not know about. Put you on game. So. I would say just figure out the talents and abilities, knowledge base, and resources that you currently possess that you guys can put some effort toward just building systems around. I'm a systems guy, systems and processes. That's how my mind works. I should have been an engineer once upon a time, so my mom tells me. But anyway, just like I needed to put together these systems and processes where it's like I can actually get what's in my head and my knowledge base, out and actually give it to other people. Who knows, right? Like you might be really good at like knitting, baskets underwater. I don't know, like somebody might, appreciate what you're doing and actually pay for it. There's very basic things, right? Like obviously after you figure out what your niche is and what you can do for other people, put together that strong personal brand, start actually seeing yourself as a valuable individual, do yourself on these different social media platforms. Like right now, Instagram, Facebook are my like two main platforms. I seldom am on, Snapchat, TikTok. I'm getting over there. Guys. I'll get there.
It's blowing up, though. It's blowing up. There's a lot of eyes and a lot of attention on TikTok.
Absolutely. My daughter, I showed her something and she wants to make it. So she's 3, so she's going to be like, Dad, we got to do it. I'm like, all right, let's do it. But for me right now, what's really productive tools are Facebook and Instagram. Obviously, like shout out to Zoom. Like, man, without Zoom, my business would not be what it is right now. Just being able to teach people like online. Like you guys might know something out there, guys. You know something somebody else doesn't know. Put together a nice little class. Invite some people, charge them $25. Who knows, right? Like you're getting $25 a head. 10 people come through. It's $250. Boom, done right there. Like, what do you want to do? You got more money coming in. Doing 1 hour session with 10 people than you did all week. Maybe just sitting at home collecting some unemployment check or the stimulus check that's gonna run out. Like, it's not enough money, guys. Out earn the problem. That's what one of my mentors always told me. Out earn the problem. Whatever problems there are in the world out there are entrepreneurs that can solve them, right? You just bring some solutions to the table for all the challenges that we all face. And boom, now you've started creating some value for other people. You're out there, you're engaging with people, you're on Instagram Live, you're on your Instagram stories, you're on Facebook Marketplace, you're buying up people's stuff that they don't need, you're reselling that. There's so much that you can do. There's online marketing, right? So I'm just watching some kids playing around. Mm-hmm. But so anyway, guys, sorry, when I see shiny rabbits, I'm like, what? Or shiny things. But anyway, so yeah, there's online marketing, like for me, I started with network marketing. Maybe that's a choice, it's like already existing systems, that you can just plug into, pay what, like, I do like $62 each year to renew my online business. Maybe like $200, let's say, right? $200. Each business out there, it varies, So anyway, there's Shopify. There's drop shipping. There's so many different things that you can do, but just figure out what works best for you. But the one big thing is produce a personal brand. If you're not producing a personal brand, you failed, okay? LeBron James got a personal brand. Tiger Woods got a personal brand. Serena Williams got a personal brand. All your favorite rappers, they got personal brands. And actually, even with them, they don't really utilize their personal brands. All these athletes, entertainers, people in fashion, finance, or real estate that I work with, they don't have brands. They have other people that built them up. When you understand that you yourself are a brand, who you are as a person has value to other people, now you start to look at yourself different. Like Jay-Z said, right? I'm not a businessman. I'm a businessman.
Yeah, that's a fact.
You get it? That's what he meant.
Yeah.
You individually are a business. Your social security, that number, that's your tax ID, fam. But that for other people, right? But for you as a person, dude, just put together a little LLC. What is that, like $155 most places? Just look it online. Don't take my word for it. Just look it up online. It's mostly $155. Boom, you got your LLC set up. Manage your money. Get your marketing game on point with these different platforms. Brand yourself the right way. Know who you are. Know what you do. Know who you do it for. Get yourself, a PayPal account, Stripe account, or Cash App. A lot of us use Cash App. Why are you just purchasing? Why aren't you being a producer? Have people purchase shit stuff from you. So come on, guys. This is 2020. we're all sitting at home. You know, you don't have the excuse no more of I don't have enough time. You sitting around at home, Netflix and chilling. You should be out here on YouTube, Googling and making that money. So, you know, if I could say anything, guys, just produce that strong personal brand. Reach out to people that know a little bit more about the business world maybe than you do. You know, shout out, you know, to Betsky and Edom for the Everybody Eats podcast. I mean, you should be on there, you know, listening to some podcasts, you know, gathering some knowledge that you might not know, right? So, anyway, man, I feel like I'm beating the dead horse. What is that phrase?
Yeah, being on a dead horse. I think it's like being on a dead horse. But nah, definitely, I do appreciate that, because that's something that Lord knows we've been saying this a while on the podcast, especially during this time, that people need to make sure they're taking an advantage of this time building. And you know, instead of, you know, sitting there or playing video games or watching Netflix all day, there are ways that you can build a personal brand. And not everything has to be a business, right? But like I did make a post, like everyone has a gift and you never know who's willing to pay for it. Pay you for it, you know? So
yeah,
it could just start off as a hobby.
People.
Yeah, it could just start off as a hobby, and it could turn to a business, or it could just, you know, stay as a hobby. But just building up that personal brand and that personal profile, you never know where it can take you.
Man, just have fun with life, guys.
It's a fact.
This thing is too short, you know. People are, you know, dying left and right, but like, you know, if you're gonna die, you know, be remembered for something, guys. You know, the whole like fear of death thing. Man, I forgot about that a long time ago, man. Like, there's no fear in death. I can go tomorrow. I can go, like, when I leave my house today for my walk. Who knows, you know? But at least, you know, I've put out so much content in the last 10 years of my life that, you know, you can take a look at it on my YouTube, on my Instagram, my Snapchat, my Facebook, my website that's up, you know, like I've left something behind, and I've actually given a lot to so many people. I know I've changed lives. I know for a fact I've changed many, many lives. And I don't do it for the money anymore, you know. My bills are paid up, credit cards are paid. I'm not broke anymore, you know. I built it so I wouldn't be broke. But at the same time, now I'm driven by purpose, you know. Like, I want to be able to have an impact on the next generation. My daughter, you know, she's 3 years old, and she thinks I'm a superhero. So I keep letting her know. Yeah. So I'm going out to go rescue, you know, the world.
For sure.
But, you know, like, our kids, our kids, we are their superheroes. So continue to keep doing good things, guys. I appreciate it. I don't know if we're running short on time, but I just appreciate it, man. Thank you guys for doing what you do.
Thank you for joining us. Edom, do you have any final points before we wrap this up?
No, just thank you so much for being here.
For sure. So, again, thank you, Zach, Abukar, for joining us. I think we definitely covered some really important points. You know, I think a lot of it is mentality. I think a lot of today's episode was just having the proper mentality and things like that. So, you know, if you gotta rewind and listen to this episode again, definitely we should have been taking some notes. We dropping some fire gems here. So, thank you again for joining us. How can people find you? What's your social media?
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you guys for what you do. First and foremost, you got a fire podcast. I'm super honored to be a guest today. Y'all can follow me on all social media platforms. Dreams Too Big. Just it's spelled differently on Twitter. 3 and not an E, but Dreams with a Z and not an S. The number 2 Big at all major social media platforms. My website is dreams2big.com. You can get revamp for YouTube, Zach Abukar, Facebook, Zach Abukar. Just Google my name, Zach Abukar, ZAKABUKAR, Zach Abukar. Holla at your boy, guys. Appreciate you. I'm gonna go take this young walk, get my ears filled up with this nice oxygen and not just being cooped up in my home all day.
For sure. So, we'll see you guys next week. Stay tuned. Thank you again, bro. Appreciate it. Enjoy it.
Gang.
For sure. So, what you gonna call it? Appreciate, I was gonna say, enjoy your walk, enjoy your time with your daughter, and all that stuff, bro.
I appreciate you guys, man. Much love, guys. Keep doing good things. Let's build. Let's touch base again, man.
For sure. Definitely.